been in the danger zone.
Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to the 15th ever Danger Zone podcast. I am your host, Daniel Kelly, and I'm joined by, I'll now refer to him as the Frankie Boyle of the wrestling podcast world after his recent Twitter outbursts, Mr. Ryan Palmer.
Hello, yes.
And making his full-time debut on the show is Ipswich Dan.
Hello.
Now, Dan is here for a few weeks until the finest newsreader in the East recovers from the unfortunate boating accident that he suffered this past week. Everyone here at the Danger Zone wishes him a very average recovery, and we'd love it if you could send him some messages of support at his personal Twitter handle, which is @Y2Himp. As usual, first up on the show, Sir Ryan will give you a lovely little fragment of his raw shit.
Raw shit, 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 raw shit. Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, Ryan Palmer's raw shit.
Yes, and here we go. Of course, we've had some great feedback about the raw shit jingle, so I hope you're all enjoying that. So to this Monday's Raw, the main event was supposed to be to start with The Shield versus Cena and Ryback, but this never happened. So we got The Shield versus Cena and Team Hell No, which The Shield won, with Reigns pinning Cena pretty much clean after a spear. What were your thoughts on this?
I thought it was a good match. I didn't really understand the point of the Ryback disappearance angle because he'd already said that he wasn't going to be in the match. But, there you go.
Yeah.
I thought the Cena, they worked the Cena Achilles injury in perfectly. I think it was a really smart way of getting the best out of a bad situation because it wasn't the main sort of focus of the match, but it still gave Cena an excuse for losing clean, but it didn't take too much away from the Shield beating him clean, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm glad they did go that way because I thought it's just going to be Bryan getting pinned again by the Shield, which I'm glad didn't happen. It was worked in well. It's interesting what an original plan for this would have been, because it seemed like Ryback was going to face the Shield with someone else, but then this never happened, and then it turns out Cena was in the match I don't know if this was the plan all along or whatever, but yeah, it was a bit weird with Ryback, how he just came back at the end to serve no purpose, really. I don't really see how that made a difference. And I thought it looked a bit bad where it was going to be Cena and Ryback, but the second choice was Cena and Team Hell No, which would have been 3-on-3, whereas it would have been 3-on-2, so that was nitpicking, I guess. But it was a good match. Crowd really up for this. They weren't up for that much during the match at the Raw. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Not really happy with the rest of Raw, to be honest. I thought it was a painful episode. It felt completely like a filler episode. There were so many people that weren't on the show. You had Triple H, your Lesnar's, even like Big Show. That's not even a miss, but there you go. And obviously Punk and no Taker. So it really felt very unspectacular, this Raw, and it was real chore to get through once again. 3 hours just is terrible to watch. But yeah, even it being live doesn't help it. So let's talk about the Cena Ryback, the continuation of their feud, I should say. It's difficult to see exactly what they're doing with this. There were rumours that Ryback might be turning face again after Extreme Rules. I don't know.
That's a funny sort of proposition there, because that tells me that they've turned him heel without having a clue what they're going to do with him after this feud.
Yeah.
So that's what we said last week, isn't it? Where does he go after this feud? So
Yeah, it is.
See what he does.
Yeah, it's difficult. Let's talk a minute for the Make-A-Wish kind of like video and the segment. What kind of segment? Where they show a video of Cena meeting a young boy who had heart problems since he was born, and can't help but smile at seeing something like that. That was very nice, and it does show Cena in his best light. He's a classy guy. So yeah, I thought this was very nice.
Yeah, it's just heartwarming to see, isn't it? It's genuinely brilliant to see children's dreams come true, you know, on national television, doing the thing that they wanted to do desperately. And I think, like you're saying, it proves that Cena really is a brilliant guy.
Yeah,
I think that's undeniable. How much everyone hates him from his wrestling point of view, but he really is a great guy. And
that also shows. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
That also shows his incredible work ethic as well. I mean, that first appearance with the young boy, I believe, happened in New York, whereas Raw was, it was elsewhere. So that was early in the morning, and then obviously they flew the family across to where Raw was. Obviously, Cena had just come back off the European tour as well. He's got an incredible work ethic. He virtually goes non-stop throughout the year, so you can't fault him for that at all.
What a feeling it'll be in 30 years' time when he's retired and old and grey, and he looks back on what he's done in his life and career, and he realises that he's made so many hundreds of sick children's dreams come true. And that, in many ways, would sort of engulf the whole wrestling career for me. You can't really ask for any more than that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. And I think it was nice that they brought 3 kids out there. On the stage with Cena. I thought that was unexpected, and that must just go even further to make it a brilliant moment for them children. It was a very smart move by WWE. Even the most ardent Cena hater wasn't going to boo him when he came out with them. But yeah, that was very nice. And to be fair, I mean, Cena didn't really get any boos or significant boos on this night. So yeah. Okay, let's move on. We'll go on to the World Heavyweight Championship picture here now, and there's way too many segments involving these guys. Raw was, believe it or not, opened by Ricardo Rodriguez beating Zeb Coulter and Big E in a triple threat match to decide for their guy who decides the stipulation for the triple threat match at Extreme Rules for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is probably the stupidest and most uninteresting way to start Raw that I can ever remember. The crowd did go crazy for Ricardo Rodriguez though, so if he weren't in this segment would have been an absolute calamity, I think.
I think it's a testament to Ricardo Rodriguez that he's double as over as Del Rio is.
Yeah, they should put Ricardo in the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship Extreme Rules instead of Del Rio. But yeah, and I don't know, Big E again, he's just so terrible. He's just another WWE powerhouse that has no impressive power moves. It just doesn't work. I don't know. You got Cesaro there, who has got all the best power moves in the world, and then you got people like Big E and Ryback who are just, I don't know. Big E especially, does the same shitty moves all the time. He picks them up and he kind of does a little backbreaker, then he does it again, and does it again, and then he's got his big ending move, which I don't know, reminds me of like Happy Ending or something. And it's just, he is terrible, and he just looks so weird. But I don't know.
He is a funny looking chap.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, luckily that didn't last too long. Move on, and then it was all 3 guys who would have been in the, who will be in the World Heavyweight Championship match. Extreme Rules had singles matches, and these were all matches that we've seen multiple times. Ziggler beat Kofi Kingston again this was a good match. But
it was a good match, yeah.
You know, it's still a repeat. But I don't know, and it's I don't know why they have to have Ziggler not when he beats these guys, he can't beat them clean. It's pretty stupid, especially when it's someone like Kofi Kingston who's, you know, not got any worth in that company, even though he's got the United States Championship. Like he hit Trouble in Paradise on Ziggler, and then was it Big E or AJ put his foot on the rope,
As AJ.
He can't even beat Kofi Kingston without, help. It's pretty stupid.
Very spot on.
Yeah, and then we had Jack Swagger beat Zack Ryder, and he looks even more of a knob now with his hair.
He looks like the old Jack Swagger. He's got the same sort of curtains going on at the front.
Yeah. I didn't really watch this. I fast forwarded it, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Don't care. Probably shouldn't, but you try having to watch every moment of this Raw, just kills you. I said it to these guys before we went on. We started recording this. I was actually upset after I watched Raw tonight, this morning. It was just painful. Then Del Rio beat Cesaro in another match. Del Rio gets on the mic and announces the stipulation for the match Extreme Rules, and it'll be a ladder match. This, I am glad it'll be a ladder match, to be honest, and I think it could be a very good match. Del Rio is someone who excels in weapon-based matches. I think that's where he stands out the most. I think you can usually, it goes back to these ladder match with Christian. He was involved with a triple threat TLC match against Punk and Miz that was really good as well. And there's been others as well. He seems to really excel at these. And in Money in the Bank ladder matches, he's done well. Takes some crazy bumps as well. I always remember that when he went for a back senton on the from the top rope onto someone who was laying on a ladder in between the apron and the announce table, and he just they moved and he just went straight onto it, and it looked hideous. He takes some chances, so got high hopes for this match. It could walk away being the best match of the night. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not liking this feud though with the World Heavyweight Championship, and it annoys me that it is on Raw. That's something else I want to go into. I think with guys like Kingston, Cesaro, people like that, Wade Barrett as well, they've been forced to be jobbing to guys on Raw when they shouldn't be. They're in mid-card positions, but quite prominently. They shouldn't be jobbing to these guys, and it's because they have all the SmackDown guys come over to Raw to be on there, the World Heavyweight Championship. Why the hell is he on Raw? I know they want to give him more airtime, but that should be the SmackDown champion. He should stay on SmackDown. If you're going to have two, keep one away from the other show. It just takes away from the positions the other guys have, and then they get put in the position where they have to job for other people who are on the card. That makes no sense to me.
It also gives less prominency to the titles. I mean, if you see both titles on the same show, then you're going to think one's kind of a bigger standing in the company than the other. So it kind of it's kind of shunted the World Heavyweight title as a championship itself, kind of down the pecking order, really. Yeah,
definitely. It does nothing for it when it's in the opening match, and that's the storyline where it is. It should be the prominent thing on SmackDown. They could have had these 4 matches on SmackDown this week instead, and give exposure to other guys on Raw. They got 3 hours, for God's sake. They should be able to fit it in anyway without jobbing out some of their better mid-carders. It just baffles me. I don't know.
Another quick point on the world title situation. I don't like the way that it's a triple threat feud. They're feuding for the belt, but the feud isn't really about the belt, is it? They're feuding over Jack Swagger hating Mexicans still. They're feuding over Ziggler creeping up on Del Rio and taking advantage of him. They're not feuding over, wow, I really want that belt. I want to be the World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're feuding about completely nothing. The belt might as well not be there.
Yeah. I think they've definitely cooled on the whole Mexican-America kind of angle a little bit. It's not I see what you're saying. It's more like everything's mixed together kind of thing. Like the title and this kind of feud that was with Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger. Nothing's really seen as, the most prominent thing in this anymore. I don't like it. I think it's because of the lukewarm reaction the Swagger Del Rio feud had up to Mania, and with Jack Swagger being a knob with his weed and stuff. It just ruined it. And I'm amazed they had 4 main segments on Raw was to do with it. I mean, that kind of just shows you how lacking they are for things. But it's
because you're worrying snapshot into the future when all the part-timers are finished.
Oh God, yeah, that's true. And I mean, if Cena, aggravates that injury even more, and he, forced to be out for a long time, they're in real trouble. And like Punk's gone, and they're in desperate trouble. The guys they've been building like the hardest for the last, in some cases a year, like Ryback, Del Rio, no reaction. It's pretty worrying. It still baffles me why they aren't using Orton in a significant way, because he's always popular and he usually delivers. So I don't. It's stupid, really, to me. If anyone should have been turned heel and be feuding with Cena now, it should have been Orton. And then if they were going to turn him babyface again, they could still do that. But I think turning Orton would have been much better for this feud with Cena than Ryback. But yeah, speaking of Orton, he had a fantastic match with Cody Rhodes on this episode of Raw. Brilliant end sequence as well. And I felt with this match, Orton really enhanced Cody's reputation. It looked like Cody really pushed him to the limit. And Cody looked good even with defeat. And then they had that post-match bit where he just KO'd him again, which didn't do too much for Cody there. But, this was an excellent match and easily... probably end of the match of the night, probably, yeah.
Definitely match of the night. I said on Twitter earlier, after watching it, could it finally be Cody's coming-of-age moment? Because in my mind, he's been around for a long time now. He's been around for too long, and he's still no further than when he really joined the company. He's still a mid-carder with no direction.
Yeah.
And hopefully this could be, I hate to use the cliche, but it could be like a platform to launch from as in terms of singles career, because it's by far and away the best singles match I've seen him have, definitely.
Yeah, go with that. I probably would lean towards that not being the case at the moment, just because...
Yeah, I agree. I do see where you're coming from, yeah.
Yeah, just for I think it was just circumstance that this match went so long, really. Because, they had a lot of time to fill and not much stuff to fill it with. And also, I think Orton, they're probably pretty friendly, really, them two guys. And in all their matches, he's made, Cody look pretty good. So there's probably like a mutual respect between them, or even friendship as well. So he probably wanted to make him look fairly good as well. That is the good thing about Orton. He will do that sometimes. He will. It's like how Jeff Hardy is as well. He in WWE and even like TNA when he wrestled what's that guy, Christian York.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's always like that, Jeff. He's always sells so much for him and always makes them look really good. And I think Orton does that as well. He's starting to, definitely now anyway. So that was very good. I mean, hopefully they'll do something more with Cody, because he is a bit wasted. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he'd certainly be a good mid-carder, and things keep seeming to go wrong for him. But let's move on to a couple of the less enjoyable segments, and there was quite a lot on this show for that. We had Fandango versus Great Khali in a dance-off. Part of me, they had Matt. Who was it? Matt? Was it Matt? No, it was Jerry Lawler in the ring, wasn't it? And he interviewed Khali. Part of me was just disgusted, and then part of me was like, this is pretty sick of WWE just to take the piss of Khali like this. But he was ridiculous though.
Khali makes me want to self-harm.
Yeah, this was bad. I mean, he couldn't barely speak at one point, and that was weird. And then they had a dance off, and Khali was just god awful. But the crowd, who were very warm to Fandango anyway, still allowed Great Khali to win the dance off with an audience reaction, which just baffled me.
I've heard a report here on, I can't remember what website it was on, but one of the normal websites, and it was a fan report from Raw, and the guy that wrote it was convinced that they piped in cheers through the sound system in the arena.
Oh, really? What, for Carly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But take that,
Yeah.
make that what you will. But
I'm not
it's
sure
an
about
interesting
that.
side thought, because there's no way would Carly have won that. Because everyone, it was the best reaction that Fandango's had in America since the New Jersey Raw.
Yeah.
As soon as his music kicked in, both times everyone was up and Fandangoing and dancing away, and I can't see how that many people would have just cheered for Carly after doing that anyway. But
yeah,
it's just an interesting thought. It might not be true. It might be complete rubbish. But
yeah, I'd have thought I would have heard the difference, but it did. Like when at the time when I heard like the cheers for Carly, I didn't think anything sounded amiss with it, and it sounded fake. So interesting. I doubt it did happen, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, so there wasn't really much else of note on Raw this week. Had a Naomi beat Brie Bella by disqualification. The Bellas had used twin magic to win the match, but then that was reversed when the ref saw the replay. I didn't know they were allowed to start doing that now. But yeah, that was unspectacular as usual.
I can't see how they're going to keep going with twin magic, because one of them's got a whacking great set of honkers on her, and the other one's now really flat-chested. It's not really going to work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Who cares?
Yeah, with the Bellas, I think they're some of the better divas they've got there. But
oh dear.
You're right. Anyway, yeah, they're the slightly better divas they've got there, but it's just the longevity of them seems to be a factor. It's just the same thing all the time. They don't seem to know what else they can do with them. But yeah. So overall thoughts of Raw, I thought it was easily the worst episode since Mania, and easily probably one of the worst ones of the year. Not enjoyable at all, and it's just it gets harder and harder to get through these each week.
Yeah, I would back up them sentiments. I thought the two matches we talked about, Dolph and Kofi, and Cody and Randy Orton, I think they were very good matches, which deserved to be on a better Raw, I think. But other than the wrestling, I think it's impossible to get through. I'm watching it in 2 or 3 settings now.
Yeah.
And I said it on Twitter earlier on, and some proper WWE marks, and they proper defend it to the hilt, and they're like, what are you on? I got called a crackhead for saying 3 hours was too long. I think it's painfully obvious that it is too long.
Yeah, it's when you look back at it, and there were a few good matches on there. It does make you question, how could it be such a bad Raw then? But that probably takes up with about, 45 minutes of the action at the most. But the rest was just so bad and so hard to get through it. You've got to be critical of it when it's like this. It's just too difficult to get through, like you say, and I just don't enjoy it anymore. And it's just you kind of have to wade through so much shit to get to the good parts, and in the end, it's not really ever worth it. On the general Raw, it's not like the post WrestleMania one or anything like that. Okay, well, that's the end of Raw shit this week.
Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, Ryan Palmer's Raw shit.
Okay, we don't usually talk about the goings on Smackdown on the podcast, but it's a bit of an exception this week. Let's talk about the Undertaker and Dean Ambrose match from last week's Smackdown, and the resulting angle that happened after it. What were your thoughts on this, guys?
Now, I know that you've said to me personally that you weren't a fan of Ambrose losing the match, but I'm not too sure that the tap-out really harms the Shield. The outcome of the brawl afterwards overrules the loss for me. I think when SmackDown finished, the Shield had absolutely ruined The Undertaker, and that's the lasting image that most people will get. I don't think that the tap out has really affected the Shield too much either, and I don't think it will going forward. And what a visual the spear through the barricade was as well. I think the camera work was superb on that, whether it was intentional or not. But that made the spear seem a lot more impactful than that same spot usually looks, I think.
Yeah, just in defence of that, I more in favour of him losing in about 5 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever it was. It wasn't very long than him losing at all. I mean, I never expected Ambrose to beat Undertaker on SmackDown or anything like that, and that probably would have been a bit weird. But yeah, just it was kind of easy, and the match wasn't very long. I just thought it was a shame. It didn't, like a statue enhancing match. Undertaker and like the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes one would have been something a bit better. I know Undertaker can't go that long, but I mean anything under 10 minutes I thought was pretty disappointing. It didn't make Ambrose look that great. I mean, for a 5-minute match, whatever it was good. I just wish it had gone a bit longer or something like that. Really,
definitely. I
thought the angle that happened afterwards was very good, though. Like you said, that was very well shot and very memorable. Especially the Shield and the powerbomb looked lethal as well through the announce table. Especially how Taker landed, he kind of like skidded like head first.
The Shield seems to be the only ones that can break the table these days.
Yeah. I suppose it is 3 men putting them, pick someone through it. But
I think looking at the aftermath of the match in hindsight, they kind of needed to go back to the end of the match. They needed to kind of do that sort of finish to enable the other 2 members of the Shield to get into the ring quite quickly and to go on top of Taker, really. Because if he'd used a tombstone to win, he would have had up the 3 or 4 seconds with a pin, and then it kind of would have lost the edge of the Shield quickly hijacking Taker and getting on top of him quite quick after the tap. So I think they needed to do the tapping out finish to get the finish done quite quick to enable the aftermath to start. But we expected the aftermath. We expected obviously Taker to be wiped out at some point, but I think they did it really, really well. It did surprise me how well it was actually done because I was expecting it. But obviously that camera angle with the spear through the barricade and everything, and also Taker kind of getting the upper hand at the start of it, straight after the match as well. That kind of, because you kind of with these sort of endings, you expect them to be on top throughout, and we're 3 against 1. But obviously with the Undertaker, he actually got the upper hand, which kind of helped the whole image of the ending, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm quite surprised they didn't go for a DQ finish. Personally, I thought maybe Taker would hit a choke slam or a tombstone or whatever, and before he could hit the cover, I thought Reigns and Rollins could run in and interfere, and then it would protect the Shield at the same time of making sure the Undertaker doesn't lose. But obviously they didn't go.
They probably thought, well, we can't do that because everyone will complain on the internet or something. Yeah. and then, but this is one of the instances where I said I might have actually preferred a DQ finish, to be honest, because it does help protect people, a group who aren't, not their gimmick, but their storyline is that they're not losing at the minute. I know RB is as a team, so I wouldn't have hated a DQ finish. I mean, it was SmackDown. I mean, you know how much what WWE thinks of SmackDown, and I mean, but yeah, you couldn't have booked Taker to lose.
No, definitely not.
It would have seemed a little. I know that's how you make stars and stuff, but I mean, even as talented as Ambrose is, and just how mythical Undertaker is at the moment. I mean, if Taker was still full time, no doubt Ambrose might have beat him. But I think it's when he's doing this, like he's kind of only coming back mainly for WrestleMania. You can't really have Taker just having little losses here and there. At the end of his career, he has got to win a lot of the time. So yeah, I suppose no massive complaints about it, but yeah, just the quickness of how Ambrose lost was slight annoyance. But I'd rather it happened that it didn't, to be honest. So, and I bet it was just like more than anything, it was a sign, they were showing Ambrose how much they think of him, really. As well as the whole members of the Shield, but Ambrose in particular, by letting him have a match with Taker. And it's interesting to note that Ambrose is facing Kane on SmackDown this week too. So they must have a lot of stock in Ambrose.
Just coming into that, during the Raw main event last week as well, Undertaker only wrestled Ambrose in the big tag match as well. So obviously Undertaker feels highly of Ambrose to then also have a match with him on SmackDown. And obviously now Kane's having a match, the veterans must, like Ambrose and think very highly of him.
Yeah, if Ambrose doesn't win that match, it should be clean.
Surely.
And it should be clean as well. Yeah. I will be very annoyed.
I think it will be clean, but I think he'll definitely be in.
Yeah, he better do, because that would be a travesty. And they are risking, deflating the Shield a little bit if they do that. But we'll see. You've got to have some hope that they won't. It's interesting. I'm really looking forward to hopefully the Shield having more singles matches now, because I think it does, even for like SmackDown, I'm looking forward to seeing Ambrose in a singles match again. And I hope Rollins gets some as well, because he's arguably the best worker of the three. So yeah, should be good. Okay, well, let's go away from WWE a bit. We wanted to talk about TNA a little bit. I got very animated when I was live tweeting the latest episode of Impact Wrestling. Just for the whole Bully Ray and Hulk Hogan storyline that they seem to be going with. Because it just sickens me how much Hogan is positioned again. Him and Sting, to be fair, are positioned as the be-all and end-all of TNA. Every one of their top baby faces have been overwhelmed by all the shitty aces and eights guys. And just been beat down, but it's only Sting and Hogan who can stand up to them and get the best of them. And it just fucking infuriates me that they are this stupid. And it is absolutely pathetic. And then you got Hogan with his doing some kind of storyline with Matt Morgan. And I don't know, something big's going to happen with that, I reckon. I reckon Morgan's going to come out with a massive push. And God forbid the world title, and this is their main things at the moment. It's bloody no talent Matt Morgan, fucking 60-year-old can barely walk Hulk Hogan, and Sting, who I don't know hates jobbing more than anything, even at 53, 54. It's just frankly absolute shit, and I cannot stand TNA at the moment. I only watch it just to keep informed at the moment. It is absolutely terrible. It is had that period when it was, some of the worst TNA had been for a long time recently. Then it got a little better, and now it's just got back to being pure shit again.
Completely undone all the hard work that they did to get it to a very watchable level. Throughout 2000, the end of 2011 and most of 2012, it was arguably the best wrestling television program, I would say, but. Now I'm not a regular watcher of Impact, I must be honest, but hearing and seeing what I have seen and reading what I have read, I have no will to start watching it regularly either.
No, it's just it is dreadful. I mean, even the time where you were saying it was really good, it was a lot better. Stuff outside the Aces and Eights angle, the surrounding stuff was pretty good, but everything is pretty poor now. That episode, the last two episodes have been god awful. I mean, I've been saying about how bad this Raw was and stuff, but I mean, if this episode of Impact was 3 hours, then bloody hell, I would be self-harming. That is awful. And just the stuff with AJ, it's just so blatantly copying Sting. He was up on in the crowd doing things. If they'd had rafters, he would have been probably up there. I think I tweeted as well, it's only a matter of time before, or I heard that AJ's going to start carrying a baseball bat and wearing up face paint soon. It's just such a blatant rip-off of when Crow Sting started, and he's, not with the NWO, he's not with the WCW roster. It's just so stupid. And to me, it seems like Hogan seems to have more power now, and this is all what he wants is happening. and it's just fucking pathetic how anyone can think this is good and what they should be doing, pushing Hogan and Sting when they're between them they are well over 100.
Some stat. I feel a little bit sorry for Dixie Carter because she's a nice woman and we've all met her personally, but that sounded quite dirty, but it wasn't like that. But she's a nice woman, but I think she hasn't got a clue when it comes to running a wrestling company.
No. I mean, nor's Hogan, though.
No, but she thinks he has because he's obviously calling most of the shots and she's doing nothing to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, she had the chance to put Heyman in place as the booker and, running the show there, and she kept with Hogan, kind of sums it up. I mean, it's embarrassing, and I don't know, even I might start not watching TNA anymore just because I get too angry and I start doing very provocative outbursts on Twitter as it's going on. If you like that kind of thing, it's worth going back through our Twitter posts because I quite like some of them. If I say so myself, my favourite being Hogan has infected TNA with the AIDS he got from Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. So, yeah, if you enjoy that kind of thing, please go back and have a look at that.
Who doesn't enjoy that kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of them did. I got some retweets, so I was pleased with that. Thank you for that. And to be fair, one of the only reasons I have kept on watching TNA is because I enjoy live tweeting and interacting with everyone. So, yeah, if you're all bashing TNA with me, I'll probably keep it up. But yeah, anyway. I haven't really had a proper rant like that before, so.
Brian does a rant, and that could be a weekly item.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Probably not good for the blood pressure. But yeah.
Right then, is that all you want to say on Impact before you get a little bit? You're getting a little bit hot, aren't you?
Yeah, I should probably relax. Some nice news, I think.
Sit back and relax and listen to Ipswich Dan does the news.
Ipswich Dan
does some news.
Ipswich Dan
Does some news.
Ipswich Dan
Does some news. It's time to hear from
Ipswich Dan. Well, certainly interesting to have my own rendition of the famous jingle. And now we've got some news. So, firstly, the big news of the weekend and the week is that John Cena suffered a right Achilles injury. It was reported on WWE.com over the weekend, and obviously, whenever something happens with Cena, the internet just explodes. The big question was it a work or was it real? It was, in fact, real. It happened on the European tour, which they've just come off. Cena was booked in tables matches with Ryback during the tour, but then halfway through it, the main event shifted to John Cena and Team Hell No against Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Big E. This was obviously done to protect John Cena, and Cena didn't wrestle at last week's tapings in the UK, and he was also limited on the house show main events, and there's photographs of his ankle being taped. Obviously, we know Cena worked yesterday, but it's unknown how serious the injury actually is. But just to note that the injury is actually similar to what Edge suffered about 10 or 11 years ago, and Edge was off for about 8 months. So it'll be interesting to see how long this goes on for. I don't think it'll be that serious, but obviously there's a few worries that Cena could drop the title to Ryback, but we won't really go there.
Mostly my fears.
Yes, yeah, I thought so. Right, nextly, CM Punk has been taken off the listings for house shows and TV tapings through to SummerSlam. We all know he's been taking some time off since WrestleMania for a number of reasons. Firstly, to let his knees rest after the huge WrestleMania bout against The Undertaker. And also, it's been reported that there's no actual concrete plan as to when Cena would return. There's apparently Punk's had some issues backstage with WWE management, so these could be a few factors. Obviously, he's come off a major, lengthy title run, so I guess he deserves his spot out of the picture. Next, on a return tease, and that is of Batista. Now, there's been a few murmurs the past couple of years that Batista could return. He recently tweeted that he's had a very rewarding long week. # I miss the days when I could entertain you live and in person, but trust me, you're going to love what's coming.
That's
so
a long hashtag.
Yeah. Thanks. It wasn't all the hashtag, but I guess he'll still be walking alone when he returns, as his theme suggests. But it'll be interesting to see Batista back. He's obviously a big name. He's not the biggest of names, and if he does return, it'll be interesting to see what spot he goes in, whether it'll be one of the part-time ones that like Lesnar, Taker and The Rock have been having the past couple of years.
I've got a feeling. Sorry to cut in. I got a feeling he won't be returning. I think it'll be just something else, maybe film related or. I've got a funny feeling it's not going to be a return.
I think he'll return eventually.
Oh yeah.
I think he won't come back as a part-timer because I don't think he's a draw, to be honest, like the others.
No.
I think he could really command the big money he'll get for working limited dates when he won't add that much to the buy rates.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years if his film career takes off a little bit more, which he seems to be doing a bit better in that kind of field. So as
long as he doesn't keep going with MMA.
Yeah, I think that's done. He's closed his gym in there, hasn't he? So.
Yeah. Right. WWE have announced a deal with Yahoo, which will include a 30-minute Raw pre-show. Now, the pre-shows have been popular for the past year or so for pay-per-views, and there have always been speculation since about the Raw 1000 that they would be introducing the pre-show to Raw, and now it has been confirmed that it'll happen during the summer. Yahoo are apparently going to have a WWE hub, which will include archive clips, TV snippets, news and everything, which I guess will be incorporated into the pre-show. I'll be interested to see what they do with the pre-show. That obviously makes Raw kind of 3.5 hours now, which, Ryan, you won't be too happy with.
I will not be watching it.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But yeah, that's scheduled to debut during the summer sometime. And finally, WWE diva Rosa Mendes was sent home from the company's WrestleMania Revenge European tour for being a drunken slag. Ipswich Dan.
Done the news.
Ipswich Dan.
Done the news.
Ipswich Dan.
Done the news. It's time to say bye-bye to
Ipswich Dan.
Brilliant effort there, Ipswich Dan. That's so much better than that Nurk that we used to have do the news.
Thanks.
Did you enjoy that?
I did indeed, yeah.
There you go. That's what we're all about. Right. I think that's your lot this week on the Danger Zone podcast. We thank you for joining us once again, and we ask you to check us out on all our usual media platforms and iTunes. Make sure you join us on Twitter on Friday and Sunday evenings for some Smackdown and Impact tweeting from Frankie Boyle himself over there, and that's going to be entertaining. Next week, we'll see the return of the hashtag debate. We'll put the question out on Sunday night during the Impact tweeting, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions as always. We'll see you next week, and remember, never let Jerry Lawler play with your children.
I've been in the danger zone.
Apparently, it's got really out of hand now. He's like spread it around the whole TNA locker room, and even Dixie's dog has got it.
Really?